So, Arsenal get a win in the Premier League this afternoon. We are back into the top four with a comprehensive, destructive victory over Southampton, winning the game within 20 minutes and making it an easy Sunday afternoon at the Emirates. Welcome back to the return of Analysing Arsenal, and I want to say apologies that there's not been any Analysing Arsenal videos over the last couple of weeks. Since the last Analysing Arsenal, which was up against Huddersfield, which was about 2 weeks ago, we've had a back-to-back header against Bate, and I'm going to give you kind of my brief thoughts and feelings to those games in the next two Analysing Arsenal videos, but I've been busy and other commitments on those Thursday nights meant that I just wasn't in a position to sit down and record a Analysing Arsenal for you guys, even though I watched both of those games. But, you know, it's a kind of a pivotal moment in our season, really, because, you know, there are two, you know, competitions that we're fighting for, Premier League and Europa League, and what I think is interesting is that there's only really kind of one competition that you can really go for, or the other competition that you can really go for. You know, you could either put all your eggs into the Premier League basket to try and get back into the top four, resulting in a Champions League qualification for next season, or you could focus on the Europa League, win the Europa League, and get back into the Champions League that way. It's very difficult because of the way that the fixtures run, because the fact that, you know, when you play on a Thursday night, your game gets thrown to the Sunday, and we've not really seen a Premier League team being able to deal with going from a Premier League game to an Europa League game. Yes, you could look at Manchester United, who won the Europa League in their season, but they finished in the Premier League in sixth, and they did have quite an easy run of games going up to the final and also the final itself. But, I mean, you know, Unai Emery's main mission is to get back into the Champions League, whether that is by winning the Europa League or getting into the top four. And even though we're into the top four now, you know, Chelsea have got such a lot about them, even though they've got problems under Sarri. Manchester United, who have just, you know, drawn 0-0 to Liverpool, you know, under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, are in, you know, incredible form at the minute. They're on fire. And then, you know, obviously, you've got us battling, you know, with, you know, Liverpool, Man City, Spurs, you know, occupying the first three slots. There's either going to be Chelsea, United or Arsenal for the other kind of final top four spot. It was, you know, manners to the game today, you know, in regards to our 2-0 win. You know, like I said, it was a very, very easy day at the office. Obviously, Ozil, who played on Thursday night against Bate, and Aubameyang were rested. They were put on to the bench. Lacazette, who was suspended on Thursday night for picking up a red card in the Europa League first leg tie against Bate, scored within 6 minutes. Mkhitaryan added a second goal, and, you know, when you look at the lineups, it was a fairly strong team. You know, Iwobi had a really, really good game. It was one of those games where he, you know, stood out, and, you know, the combination play between Lacazette and Mkhitaryan was really, really good. Ramsey was very strong in the midfield. Torreira and Xhaka partnering up well. And really, you know, we were up against Southampton side in the bottom three, who are struggling themselves, and, you know, it was a good display. I mean, we dominated in the first half. We could have had at least 3, 4, maybe even 5 goals going into that second half, and, you know, the game was already, you know, done and dusted. You know, it was a game that was kind of all over in the first half, and even though Southampton, you know, responded in the second half and had a couple of chances here or there, they didn't really create anything clear cut. You know, they weren't great, but, you know, it could have been a very, very bad day for them. Even though the result only shows Arsenal beating them by 2 goals, it could have been, you know, extremely, extremely worse for them. So, you know, I think it's a good, decent performance all round. You know, it is a result, as I said, that moves us into the top four. I mean, we're on 53 points. You know, Manchester United a point behind Chelsea. Obviously, we'll have a game in hand because they're in Carabao Cup final action this afternoon against Manchester City. And, you know, when I say that this is a pivotal moment, it is because our next 2 games, you know, obviously we've got Bournemouth on Wednesday night, but then we go to Wembley to face Tottenham, then we're at home to Manchester United. You know, these next set of games, next 3 games, you know, I could be here this time, not next Sunday, Sunday after, in 2 weeks' time, telling you that our top 4 hopes are over, or our top 4 hopes are, you know, almost cemented. And in the meantime, we've got, you know, the Europa League to concentrate on. So, you know, for me, I really am kind of the idea that not only would I like us to fight for the top 4, but also to go all out in the Europa League. Now, as I said, it's difficult to focus on both. You know, like I said, you either, you know, can fight on all fronts to get a top 4 place or win the Europa League. It's about finding that balance. I do think we've got a squad that is good enough, and is strong enough to kind of fight on both fronts, but it all really is down to, you know, the fixture list, the results, and that, you know, once we have played Tottenham and Manchester United, we've played all of the big boys, we've got a very kind fixture list from after we face Manchester United at the Emirates to the end of the season. So, you know, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be, you know, in regards to our season, these next 3 games are pivotal to our Premier League season, and we have got quite a favourable, you know, Europa League last 16 draw in facing the French side Rennes. You know, in regards to the first leg against Bate Borislav, you know, yes, we lost the game 1-0. Yes, we didn't play very well. I was kind of in the minority that, you know, on another day, Lacazette could have easily had a hat-trick before getting sent off. And I knew that when we went up to the Emirates to face them, we would have enough quality to get the job done. And I'll discuss in the next Analysing Arsenal videos my thoughts to the second leg in Arsenal's Europa League tie to Bate Borislav, and give you my kind of, you know, extensive Europa League thoughts. But in regards to the first leg, you know, it was one of those results where, you know, yes, I was disappointed. Yes, I was kind of, you know, a little bit pissed off the fact that we had lost, and lost in the manner that we did. But A, as I said, we could have scored at least 3 or 4, and B, I knew that we would go up to the Emirates and kind of get the result done, and I knew we would score more than 1 on home soil, which we did. We move on to Wednesday night, and good performance. Southampton didn't really, you know, do anything. It was a standard easy day at the office for Arsenal, and we move on to Wednesday night when we face Bournemouth away from them. That is not going to be an easy game. Bournemouth are a very, very good side, so that is a big, big game, and I will rejoin you for that Analysing Arsenal on Wednesday night. Until then, please be sure to leave a like on the video if you've enjoyed, subscribe, channel if you're new around it, and check out my other great content as well. I'm off to see the Carabao Cup final. I know how that feels. This time last year I was sitting in this chair, probably ranting the fiercest I've ever ranted after our 3-0 defeat to Manchester City. Let's see how Chelsea fare. And until next time, this is DJ Bagpuss signing out. Take care, and I shall see you all later. Take care, and I shall see you all very, very, very soon.